On the Indus River, Pakistan, Pakistanis call the Indus the father of the rivers, the Blue Water, the Lion River. Ancient civilizations thrived around it. Shrines to Sufi and Hindu saints dot its banks, and its waters irrigate the crops that feed Pakistan's 220 million people. Yet the Indus is suffering. Parts of the river are drying up. Wealthy landowners are diverting its waters to irrigate their own crops, leaving little water for small farmers. And the river has become a dumping ground for pollutants. That intrigued Pakistani filmmaker Wajahat Malik. He began wondering if there was a disconnect between the Pakistani people and the Indus. How could they allow this to happen to their mighty river? Especially for the urban population, the river is something that is far away, he says. I don't think people can relate to the river, he says. So in March, he pulled together an expedition to travel down the nearly 2,000-mile Indus, from where the river begins in Pakistan to where it ends, amid mangrove forests and a narrow delta on the Arabian Sea. It was sponsored by a regional hotel chain, the Pakistan Navy and the Sindh government, among others. We wanted to document the whole river, the peoples, the cultures, the biodiversity and just whatever comes our way, he says, while chest deep in the Indus on a recent day during his travels. For over 40 days, Malik's team rafted through the gorges of glacial melt, met fishermen who live on boats and got lost in some of the hundreds of miles of irrigation canals that branch off the river. His team was a revolving cast of some 10 people, adventurers, environmentalists and a few armed seamen whom the Pakistan Navy lent the expedition, along with 2 rubber dinghies with outboard motors. They stopped to sleep in guest houses and homes each night. We joined the expedition for their last day on the Indus, at a riverbank near the town of Swan, famed for a soaring shrine dedicated to one of Pakistan's most important saints, Lal Shahbaz calendar. There, men and women come to pray that the saint would help ease their hardship, which seemed to be everywhere along the Indus. Afia Salam, an environmentalist on the expedition, distributed bulky life jackets as I ventured onto the rubber dinghy. "You must," she says firmly. But as the journey began, the life jackets appeared superfluous. The river was wide but shallow, and the dinghies kept running into sandbanks, forcing the seamen to switch from the left to the right side of the Indus to probe where the water was deeper. Dams on the Indus and her tributary rivers had long reduced the flow to this lower stretch and destroyed the once fertile delta at the river's terminus. The dams have also meant the river has struggled to recover from blips, says Hassan Abbas, an expert in hydrology and water resources with a passion for the Indus. By blips, he means this year's dramatic lack of snowmelt from the Himalayas and rain to replenish the waters.